we are back with another weekly show episode. Got a little bit of stuff to get through, so I think we just jump right into it, eh?
Yep, I reckon. Should we start with the bloody good games of the week?
I think so. I think Aussie Broadband might like that, considering they give
Aussie
our
Broadband.
internet. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm going to start with my game because I'm got to set a bit of a scene for this before I swap over, because this is young straightjacket Jim discovering the internet and discovering internet games. So back in the day, he spent a lot of time on newgrounds.com, if anybody is old enough to remember that, or Armour Games. Armour Games are still around, but there's lots of like web games. A lot of these people probably end up making mobile apps instead. But this is where I discovered a genre of games called tower defense. And it's just, you put your towers out and an enemy will come along. You got to kill the enemies before they get to the goal. But yes, you're right, Gamma. A lot of them probably not around anymore because a lot of them used Flash, and Flash is not around anymore either.
Yeah.
But this game I saw in the Steam sale, cost me $10, and it sent me right back to it, because this series of games called Bloons Tower Defense, I absolutely love this. Like, it's just so good. Yeah, Charlie Golf knows what I'm talking about. Look at his face.
Exactly.
But it's just so much fun. It's like you've got all your little monkeys, they throw darts, and they pop balloons, and the balloons travel along the track trying to get to the end. And for me, it's just a comfort game. I'm going to pause that. But yeah, it's just a comfort game, because I can sit there while I'm watching a streamer or something like that and just play it, and it's so much fun. I can't describe, like, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's got some good humour in there, and yeah, you just monkeys popping balloons, and you've got different monkeys, like standard monkeys that throw darts, but then there's ones that freeze them, or towers like that just send out darts in every which direction, and support ones as well. So you get it's too hot in here, my brain is not working. But you get a banana for each layer of balloon that you pop, because as they go along, the red balloons are one balloon and it's gone. The blue balloons contain a red balloon.
Oh, so it takes a couple of extra shots to actually get them. Yeah.
And you can get upgrades for various things, various monkeys that like pop multiple layers, or there's glue monkeys that slow them down, and it's just really good strategy working out how to get all of these stuff through it. And like there's different difficulty levels for each map as well, and different maps too.
Well,
so it's just
I didn't realise this until you told me. This is the 6th installment of the game.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was part of like a much bigger like franchise.
It's come a long way.
Yeah.
It really, like when I played it, the biggest one you could get was called a super monkey, and now there's like upgrades to the super monkey that give it the power of the sun pretty much, and it's just it's so much fun.
How many hours have you put into it now?
Since I bought it last Friday, probably about
go on, fess up.
6 or 8, I reckon.
Okay, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
That's also because I also bought Horizon Zero Dawn in that sale as well, which I'll talk about not this week, but yeah. For this week, Bloons Tower Defense 6 is my bloody good game of the week, thanks to Aussie Broadband. Absolutely love it.
It's a good one. Good pick. My game this week is one that I found because Twitch Rivals was happening last week, and I was watching one of my favourite streamers, Toast Rack, play this game called watching them play this game called Plate Up. And for those who do know me, or maybe don't know me, you'll know now, I love cooking games. Like, I love cooking Sim, I love Overcooked, I love Cook Serve Delicious, I loved cooking Mama. So you can guarantee if there's a game that has cooking in it, I'm pretty much going to go pick it up. It was on sale for, I think, the Black Friday weekend on Steam. So that's when I ended up getting mine. But what I like about it, it's a roguelite game. So what I like about this compared to other cooking games, because a lot of people are like, oh, this just looks like Overcooked. Like, it's some elements, yes, maybe. But the cool thing is that when you finish a day, you get these little envelopes that pop up around your kitchen, and you can actually use it to add upgrades like an extra stove, or an extra counter, an extra table. There might be like a cool decoration or something that might lower the patience of the customers coming in. And so you can play it with up to 4 people. You can do it locally, you can do it online. You can play single player. Like there is a single player mode that I tried, and I could only get as far as like day 3, and then I struggled. Because another thing is, which I found really challenging, was that when you are cooking, whether it be near the stove or if customers are eating, they can basically leave a mess around. And it starts off as like a little puddle. So when you walk over it, it slows you down like just a tad. But then if you don't clean it up straight away, it will get bigger and bigger and really slow you down. So when you're trying to like run to the kitchen from the dining room because your pizza's just about to finish in the oven and it's on the cusp of burning, and you find yourself walking through a puddle, you could kiss goodbye to your food because it's gone. Like it's very challenging in a good way, and as you obviously progress with every night, you get more money that you can use to buy some of those upgrades and stuff. It's a different layout of that type of restaurant every time you fail or you win.
So the tables change formation?
Well, the actual layout, like the kitchen layout and the dining room layout are different. So sometimes you might have a kitchen that might only have one door to the dining room, or you might have a kitchen that has maybe counters that you can plate up stuff on, which you can go around to the dining room and take things off. So the layout changes every time, which is really cool. Super customizable, which I really liked. And I think that's what separates it from games that it gets compared to like Overcooked. So yeah, it's a game by It's Happening, and it's published by the Yogscast, both of which I've never heard of before until I played this. But I really, really enjoyed it. I think I have peer pressured a couple of people to also get it at the same time so we could play it together, because, there are, even though it's got a single player mode, it is, I feel like, probably more suited and catered to that multiplayer style.
I feel like this is one of those sort of chaotic multiplayer games that you need a few people on and shouting out, I'm doing this. Can
exactly.
You get this? Yeah.
Whereas like when I was playing it, I was screen sharing it with Charlie Golf and Doormat, and while I was doing it, they could hear me just mumbling and talking to myself because I've got steak cooking on like the stove, or steak cooking in the pan, and then I'm trying to like take all these dirty dishes to clean up, and you can only take one plate at a time, like you can't stack them, and yeah, it's hectic, but it's really, really fun. So if
not really a real weight person if you can't carry more than one plate at a time. Really.
It was very annoying, but then like for example, I haven't kind of seen many of the upgrades yet, but one cool upgrade that I didn't get to have was like proper work boots. So when you do go over those bigger puddles, you're less likely to get slowed down. So yeah, really, really cool. So if you like roguelites, or you like cooking, or you like both, you should definitely try it. Yeah, look, listen, the steak, you don't even have a pan out. You just put it straight onto the stove, like as it is. Like it's not even, I don't know how to explain it.
This is probably going to show how little I do actual steak cooking, but what's wrong with putting a steak in a frying pan, White Monkey? Like, how do you
as opposed to
what? Yeah, do you put it on a barbecue? Or
I know, I was going to say the same
how
thing.
do you?
But like even in the game, you don't even put it onto a pan. You put it directly onto the stove. And look, I'm no chef, but I know that's not right.
Steak in a ceramic egg is great, says Gamma.
But yeah, I think there's so many different layers to some of the recipes too. There was a point where I had to make dessert. So you had to, let's see if I remember it, you had to take the flour and knead the dough. And then once you knead the dough, and then you had to like press the same interaction button to make it into like a pie. But then you also had to do the filling for the pumpkin pie, which means you had to take the pumpkin, cut up the pumpkin, but you got to take the seeds out first, chuck the seeds in the bin, and then you got to cut up the pumpkin again, and then mix it in with the dough, and then put it on the stove, and then put it out. And like trying to do that all for one person,
that's a lot.
Oh man, I was raging. So I think I'm going to give it another attempt, but I definitely recommend playing this one with friends. And I love the fact that it's local co-op.
Nice. I do like some local co-op there, and those are our bloody good games of the week. Thanks to Aussie Broadband. Thank you so much, Aussie Broadband, for sponsoring that.
Yeah.
There was one thing that we kind of forgot to do.
Yeah, I wondered if you were going to remember.
Yeah, no, you were kind of hoping I wouldn't, because we're still doing Movember here. It's the last day of November. So, and I don't know if you've noticed this fabulous mustache that I am growing right now. I actually went and had a haircut today and got them to like do proper shave. Yeah, so I'm looking extra fabulous today. But we've had some donations, so we need to do some exercises. So I think there's five reps each of our exercise of choice for those donations. So let's get used to it. Hey? Let's
get onto it.
5-star jump for me.
I want to do my 5 squats again.
In those shoes?
Yeah, I'll do them.
And once again, I forgot to take my keys out of my pocket.
Okay, I'm done.
Whew, there we go. You can still donate as well. There is a link going around in chat if you would have some spare money that you would like to throw our way. We would very, very much appreciate it. And I'm sure Movember would very much appreciate it too.
Yes, thank you to Natty for the latest donation that we had just in the little mini stream we did before while we were playing What's Next. So,
Good.
Thank you so much.
I heard. What do you got for us, Stormy, in your lightning recap?
My lightning recap, actually, in terms of game releases, was pretty busy for one day in particular, which is this Friday. So this Friday, December 2nd, we have 3 games coming out. There's obviously more games than just that, but if we're talking about the 3 big games coming out on Friday, we've got Callisto Protocol, Marvel's Midnight Suns, and Need for Speed Unbound. Also, if you are a Game Pass member, you can play 10 hours of Need for Speed Unbound with EA Play, which I found out through the Game Pass Twitter account today. So that was awesome. So definitely jump onto that if you're thinking about getting Need for Speed.
Those are 3 big releases.
I know. Well, I said to you, I was like, I'm pretty sure Callisto comes out this week. And I'm sure Need for Speed's coming out, but maybe that was already out. And then when I looked it up, it's like apparently according to this website, they're all coming out on Friday. So huge day. So let us know if you're grabbing any of those. And then next Tuesday, December 6th, I feel like I had to add this one in because the first game was so big. Tuesday, December 6th, Hello Neighbor 2 is coming out.
I haven't played the first one yet.
I've watched other people play the first ones. And I know, for example, my little sister at the time when the first one was big was into it because all the YouTubers and stuff were playing it. But again, I can't do people or things jumping out at me and like chasing me. I don't like it. So
sounds like a stream game.
No, absolutely not. Moving on, we have some of our latest Game on Oz reviews. There's actually quite a few of them actually from the last week we were here. We have the Road X mic reviews by Doom Cutie, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 review, and a Walk of Yaya review by Dylan. We also have the Regency Cthulhu review by Royce, Evil West review by Mikey, and the Resident Evil Village DLC review by Gabriel. And Gabriel's actually covered both. Well, I say both. There's more than one, more than 2. Gabriel's covered the Resident Evil DLC, the Mercenaries mode, and the third-person mode for Resident Evil Village. So,
big review.
A big one, but I think really worthwhile reading if you are thinking about getting a review and just want to see if it's worth all the cool new stuff that you get with it. But yeah, there we go. There's my lightning recap.
Always look forward to reading Royce's reviews of like the tabletop stuff because he loves his Call of Cthulhu tabletop.
Yeah, this
stuff.
Regency one looked really interesting. So yeah, definitely go hit that up because I don't know much about Call of Cthulhu, but I saw Regency and I was like, huh?
Well, I was reading his review because I don't know a whole lot about it either, but like apparently Call of Cthulhu is more sort of steampunky and in the 1920s and 30s, but this one is going back to Regency England, which is kind of, Jane Austen meets Call of Cthulhu. I mean, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies worked, so why not this?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a really good variety of stuff out there for you to read, so make sure you go check it out on GameOnOz.com, where you can also find all the previous episodes of The Weekly Show and Nuts and Bolts.
So good. Love it. So we got a bit of news this week. Couple of things in particular that I'd like to have a chat about. And one is some really awesome news from New Zealand in terms of their funding. So at the moment they have a Centre of Digital Excellence, which they call CODE. And it's really quite good because it's helped a lot of devs get some games out there. Because in New Zealand, the total revenue for the video game industry just for New Zealand grew in the last year from 276 million New Zealand dollars to 407 million. So that's huge. That's a huge impact. That's not far off doubling. Yeah. So that's really, really big. And in response to that, the New Zealand government is continuing to fund the CODE. Currently they have a centre in Dunedin. I think they're looking at expanding that out. But they've pledged 2.25 million per year for I think the next 5 years
Wow.
So that's some good funding for that centre, and it's really good to see because I like preparing for the show. I was going through and having a look at what New Zealand games there are out there, and I kind of expected Bloons Tower Defence, my bloody good game of the week, thanks to Aussie Broadband, is made by a company called Ninja Kiwi, and yes, they are New Zealand. Well, I didn't know that for sure until I looked this up. And also Mini Metro and Mini Motorways, which Natty did a review of Mini Motorways on GameOnOz.com not that long ago, and I've been playing that too, and that's quite fun. A metric crap ton of rugby games, which being New Zealand, you would expect that. But one that I didn't expect in there was Path of Exile.
I didn't realise that until you told me. I don't know how that kind of... I don't know how I missed that was a New Zealand-made game.
For such a huge title, I can't believe that we've missed that it's made in the OCE region. It's huge. Cannot wait. And it's more of these little indie dev type studios that are doing it, and that's why I'm still excited for Three Little Pixels as well when that comes up. So for those of you that haven't been listening to us for the last couple of weeks rant on about it, Three Little Pixels is a platform that Pete Corelli, who's part of Game on Oz, is working very hard and very diligently on in the background. And that's getting to a point, he was telling me this week they've gotten to a point where they've been testing actually playing games on the platform.
Oh, cool.
It's very exciting, and should be a beta coming in December sometime, I believe. But what makes this different from other platforms is that you pay as you play. So rather than just buying the game up front or subscribing to a service like Game Pass and then just picking and choosing what games you want to play, if you play a little bit of the game, you only pay a little bit of the game. So it's good for you, for gamers, so we can try out a game and see if we like it. If we don't, we can stop playing, and we've only spent a little bit of money on it. And it's good for the devs because someone's tried their game and they get that little bit of money for it as well.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait to see that, and you can register now at register.threelittlepixels.com. So head over there, register if you haven't already. Get your gamer tag. I do believe as well, like the just hearing it because Pete did an interview with Jerdman on last week, or was it
end of last week?
Yeah,
I feel. Yeah.
And they were talking about some more customization options coming to the user menus at the moment. Because at the moment it's very basic, but you got to sign up. Jump in the Three Little Pixels Discord, follow them on Twitter, and you will see amazing things coming from that platform with the focus on Australia to begin with. But I'm sure it will expand after that.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I think if you do jump into the Discord server and things like that, you'll see a lot of familiar names and faces there too, not just from Goa but from the gaming community in general. So it's been really great to watch everyone get excited together, and just to watch the Three Little Pixels community grow, I think is fantastic.
Definitely. So in more sort of government news as it relates to video gaming, I'm sensing a bit of a theme here at the moment, but don't worry, our third story is going to break that open a bit. But loot boxes. What's your opinion on loot boxes, Stormy?
They're a bit crummy, aren't they? I mean, there's obviously the element of fun when you don't have to pay for a loot box, of course. But then when you get to the point where you end up paying for them to hope to get something, that whole situation's like I'm cringing at the moment for any audio listeners. I'm like...
All I can think of is like Battlefront, was it 2015? Star Wars Battlefront 2015, and
Battlefront
the
2.
shit. Like, was it 2? I can't remember which one it was, but one of the new Battlefront games, like, caused it. They were so shit. They caused some countries to ban them outright.
Well, I think I don't remember if it was loot boxes directly. I thought it was more so. Wasn't it Darth Vader being put behind a paywall?
Well, technically he wasn't, but they worked out you had to play like something 20,000 hours of the game to actually earn it through not paying.
Yeah, or you pay this amount and you like that really ticks me off. But yeah, it's just like, for example, Overwatch was something that that was probably my first loot box experience was Overwatch, and like accumulating them just by playing the game just for fun and just seeing the thrill of whatever I get out was fine, and I didn't spend a single cent on it.
But I think the difference here as well is because I think Overwatch you get skins in loot boxes, don't you?
Oh yeah, but it's not like a. I think I know what you're saying. Like it's not like you paid to.
Yeah,
Get
and
something
that
better
was
or to-
that was the problem with Battlefront in particular.
Yeah.
And the ongoing sporting games like FIFA, because
with the Ultimate Team packs and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the good players or good abilities in the game are locked behind loot boxes. So if you buy more loot boxes, you're going to get better stuff in the game.
I don't like.
That's crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here in Australia, there's been a few things that have happened over the years. So in 2018, there was a study done, an Australian study that concluded that loot boxes met the psychological criteria for gambling, but not the legal definition of it. And then in 2020, there was a House of Representatives Standing Committee that made loot box regulations one of its 6 recommendations in protecting the Age of Innocence report. So you can already see that there's not a lot of love at the levels of government and reporting for loot boxes.
Well, I think they're just starting to catch on a little bit. They're going, something's not right about this.
Yeah. And I like that we're saying that, because I know there's some other countries that have brought in regulations that you have to show the chances of winning these items from the loot boxes.
Yeah.
And was it? I'm trying to remember if it was the Netherlands or Belgium that banned loot boxes outright.
Yeah.
So you can't get games in that whatever country that is with loot boxes.
Yeah.
And hopefully here in Australia soon we will be getting some more regulations. So Andrew Wilkie, who is an independent MP here in Australia in the federal government, is introducing a bill to the federal parliament which would effectively classify any game with loot boxes as R18. So
what do we think about that? What do you think about that?
I think it's great because I hate loot boxes with a passion. And I think that. Sorry, I should probably rephrase that a little bit, because I hate loot boxes when they're pay to win. Yeah. So the FIFA stuff and the Battlefront stuff, NBA, yeah. When it's just cosmetics, I don't care about cosmetics, so I don't care about the loot boxes in there.
Yeah, I feel like that distinction. Oh my God, it's the heat, isn't it? The
really
distinction between cosmetics, that are just for fun, just for show. No one's forcing you to. Actually, let's be honest, no one's forcing anyone to have to pay for the extra stuff in the game. But when there are loot boxes and stuff that allow you to get a one up on other people who don't spend money, that's why I feel like it gets a bit shitty.
Yeah.
But I think. Classifying R18, I think, is definitely bringing awareness of the severity of issues that games like this bring. Whether they'll get as specific with the loot boxes like we just have and say cosmetic or otherwise, and maybe put that classification on pay to win, or they'll just straight out blanket put it on any loot box related game. I think it's good for people to still be aware of that though, because whether it is skins or whether it is pay to win, it is still a form of gambling where you don't know what you're going to get and you're going to pay money for it. So especially if we're talking about kids and stuff as well, I don't mind if that rating goes on any loot box related game.
Yeah. And honestly, here in Australia, I feel like we've already got enough of a gambling culture. If it's not like so many different little stalls popping up in around Melbourne Cup, just come and have a bet here. When I worked in the city, you walk in there and there'd be little pop-up stalls on the side of the road on the way to work where you could just pop in and have a bet. And even stuff like you go to iPlay or Time Zone and there's those ticket machines, or you put the coin in there and you try and gamble where it's going to come out. And I feel that it's pervasive enough in Australia at the moment. I'm supportive of anything that limits it. And White Monkey in chat has said making them R18 is fine, but like GTA, etc., parents will buy the game for their 12-year-olds anyway. And yes, that may be true, but if you put it in, if you classify it as R18, it has to be kept in a different section to the other rated games, and there is an extra level of culpability. Yes, the parents will probably still buy it for them because they'll go, little Johnny wants this, so I'm just going to buy it. And it will probably still happen, but it's an extra layer in front of it for parents that maybe don't know about things that just go, oh, maybe I shouldn't buy this for my kid.
Well, that's the thing. If what White Monkey says is true, because obviously my sister's not close to 18, and I'm sure as hell not buying GTA for her. You know, if it's true that parents will just go and buy the games for their 12-year-olds anyway, regardless of what the classification is, you know, it just makes me wonder. And obviously, it's not all parents, but how far into research or kind of look into the games that their kids want and be like, okay, what is the content of this game? Mm-hmm. At least these games that maybe are M or, you know, MA even, and the kid wants it and then it requires loot boxes. When they see that rating, they'll be like, oh, okay, actually, what is this? But is everyone going to be like that? I don't know.
I think anything where it starts to make it more obvious helps.
Yeah.
Because you will have those that are kind of ignorant to it and those that don't listen. Like I had a friend once that bought Deadpool for her 3 kids to watch as a movie, and it's just like, you know that's R18, right? You go, oh, no. And she ended up taking it because she's not paying attention to it. And,
yeah.
But the education of it, I think, and I also think it's an important step to show video game creators that this is a shitty tactic of using. Please don't do it anymore.
Yeah. I think just like signifying it, you know, and creating that awareness of it, I think is what you're saying as well. It's just, you know, for them to take it to this next level and be like, okay, yeah, this really is a really crappy thing to do and it shouldn't be done. It should be discouraged. And if, you know, what you're saying about that study that concluded that loot boxes met psychological criteria for gambling, this is just going to make the discussion even more prominent. I would like to think. But again, what you said with the Deadpool example, for example, are people still going to bother to take notice? Like GTA, does GTA have any gambling stuff in there? I haven't played GTA.
I haven't really either, but I know it's R18.
Yeah, like I know that's like, for example, whether it does or whether it doesn't have gambling, if, like, let's say hypothetically it didn't, but then they added to the classification that it did have gambling, is that still going to stop anyone from buying it or have everyone second guess their purchase?
It might. And this is the thing about these sorts of regulations. It's, you're always going to get the people that will ignore them and buy it for their kids anyway. But it prevents kids walking up with their Christmas money and go, I want to get this.
Yeah.
And maybe bypassing like a parental figure to try and do it.
My only thing though, now that I think about it, if, you know, there's obviously, if this comes into effect, and there's obviously going to be more games that will become R18 if it did, is that going to take away from people looking at the actual content of the game? Because, like for FIFA, for example, the actual content isn't R, but, you know, going to buy FIFA that was once G, and then going, oh, it's R18, the only reason it's R18 is for the gambling, I'm going to get it anyway. Is that going to affect the decision-making when it comes to actual violence, gore, you know, sex-related content? Like, is that going to... Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do. And you're worried that having a game like FIFA in an R18 category would persuade people that other R18 games aren't as bad.
Yeah. Like,
and I think...
or could they have a separate, not the Australian classification, but some other kind of thing put on the, make them put on the packaging and be like, this is a serious gambling.
There's two things I will say to that. One, as part of the bill that Andrew Wilkie is introducing, there's going to be warning labels that say this game has loot boxes on the game. So that's one way you would know. And two, I'm not sure about R18, but I know MA 15 plus and even PG have those extra little bits they put on it. So like you might be
online interactivity.
Yeah, or even PG supernatural themes or and stuff like that. So I can't see why there wouldn't be something like that they could put on with an R18 game and say R18 loot boxes. Or gambling.
Yeah. Like I feel like I've seen the gambling one in the occasional R18 game. Like on the classification, but yeah, it just makes me wonder if FIFA gets grouped up in the same category as The Last of Us, or I'm trying to think of something. Doom.
Doom Eternal was R18, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
yeah.
No, or was it Doom 20, like the one
2016?
Yeah, anyway, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, putting FIFA, NBA in that same bracket of those R18 games with, like, that black sticker on it, you know, is that going to, I don't know, make people just go, oh, yeah, well, if, you know, if I can get FIFA, then I'm sure, you know, little Maddie can get, I don't know, something else. You know what I mean? Like,
Here's a question for you, though. So this is focusing on loot boxes, but what if it focused on gambling full stop? So that would be quite a big difference, and it could mean anything with a card game in it almost would be gambling. And I guess it would depend on how they defined it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, it's a whole can of worms to kind of get into the nitty gritty of. So I'm interested to see where.
Yeah, because this only got announced yesterday, so I'm not sure when the next sitting day of federal parliament is. I'm pretty sure that they're into the last days of sitting parliament, so I'll be interested to see how this pans out and if it gets any support, because it was backed by I think someone from the Liberal National Party, so Andrew Wallace from the Liberal National Party. So that, given that it has the backing of someone from the NLP, it could be that it sees a little bit of light of day.
I would like to think that, kind of, again, going back to what I was saying before, if they were going to try and have a prominent statement on the packaging and stuff, rather than have it in the black, you know, little rectangle that says R18, maybe there should be some kind of stamp or sticker or something on there to separate the two, you know, so you could still have FIFA, the game's rated G, but some awareness where, you know, from the Australian government or the classification services or whatever, where they go, this is a game that contains gambling. But I don't know. Yeah,
it will be interesting to see how that comes along, and even if it does get through and become law, it'll probably still be at least, you know, a year or two to actually come into effect.
Yeah.
So
we'll wait and see.
That's it. So, you know, we talk a bit about movies in there, about people buying the wrong movies for their kids.
Yeah.
Overnight, a trailer dropped for
a very family-friendly movie.
Yeah, a much more family-friendly movie that's definitely not going to be R18+. And that was for the new Super Mario Brothers movie. And you know what? I'm cautiously optimistic about this.
I'm a bit more on board with this new trailer now because, I mean, not that I didn't like the one before. Obviously, it was just a little teaser. But this one, I don't know. I want to know first why you enjoyed this one.
I think it's hitting all the right points. I think the people doing the voices like from the first trailer, I was expecting Jack Black to just be Jack Black as Bowser.
Yeah, me too.
But the fact that he's doing a voice that actually sounds
Gravelly.
like how you think Bowser would sound, I'm really loving that. I'm loving Toad's voice in it. Because I think the voices is where I get hung up the most, and especially because we've had since Super Mario 64, where Charles Martinet has been the voice of Mario, Luigi, and Wario, and I think Waluigi as well, and like it's an iconic voice, and if you're doing something different, you have to really make it stand out, and that's why. Part of the reason why I'm still cautiously optimistic about it is I don't like Chris Pratt as Mario.
Me either. And like there was, I don't know because I can't unhear his voice because unlike Jack Black, his voice sounds like his voice, right?
Chris Pratt doesn't have any other. He's not a voice actor. He can't
just
change.
Plays himself.
Yeah,
kind of
that's
like,
it.
and I hate to say it because I do like the guy, like kind of like Ryan Reynolds, where I feel like he plays himself in every single movie. And I mean, full credit to them. They've made a career out of just being themselves. Yeah, well. At least embody that kind of personality that they're known for, like being typecast. Like, but then in some cases, and there's a bit of bias here because I do have some favorite actors in this cast as well. Like Charlie Day does not sound like Luigi, but oh my god, when I've watched him in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he's got that panicked, worried kind of tone expression that he's known for, I feel like that just fits fabulously with Luigi. So when I heard him speak in that trailer, I don't know if anyone else has watched it yet, the new trailer, because I don't want to spoil too much, but hearing his voice, I was like, this this makes sense.
Yeah.
And but then on the flip side as well, if we're moving away from Mario, I love Anya Taylor-Joy. She's got like a very pretty voice, but maybe because we're so used to hearing Peach, I was expecting it a bit higher. I don't know. I think I just, after like what you said about Jack Black's voice being so like deep and gravelly and how you expect it, some people have kind of kept to the normal voice and some haven't, and in some cases it has worked, and I feel like it doesn't work in some spots.
Some of the castings, I feel like they've been made for the name of the person that they've casted. Like Chris Pratt's one of them. Anya Taylor-Joy. Yeah,
I feel I'm getting her name right.
I feel like she's also one of them because after, was it The Queen's Gambit, she was riding high. And I think she's kind of another one that's been done for her name, but I don't have as big a problem with her voice as I do with Chris Pratt.
You know what? This is really random, a mini tangent. I think she dressed up as Peach for Halloween.
Did she?
Well. It was really cute.
Nice.
Yeah. Who else? We didn't hear Seth Rogen's voice.
No.
Donkey Kong.
And that annoyed me a little bit because they brought him in to interview before the showing of the trailer.
Oh, really?
But so he like
makes it seem worse.
Yeah, and Donkey Kong appears, but he doesn't actually talk. And he's another one where he's got a very distinctive voice, and I don't know if I'd like it if he's going to talk as he normally does
I was thinking
as
that
Donkey
too.
Kong.
Yeah. Is there anyone else in there that we might have missed? I feel like we covered everyone. Because the other Toads sound almost like a bit more cutesy than main Toad, which I kind of like. There's a bit of variety. But I feel like, and maybe this is, if you didn't want to watch the trailer until the movie, maybe just cover your ears or whatever. That Mario Kart bit.
Oh, it was so good.
that made me so happy.
Yeah.
That made me so happy. That, and even like the little parts of where it looks like the platforming game and stuff, and you know, having the dummy block that he jumps onto and it falls. Like I just like that.
There was a training montage and like the donut that just falls away, and all of a sudden he's jumped on it. Hey, I did it, and then falls
through. I like the fact that they are compared to some other games, which I'm sure we'll get into in a minute, are actually kind of staying true to that source material. And even when it comes down to the visuals and the looks, it's pretty close. Like landscape, not landscape.
Mushroom Kingdom,
Mushroom
scenery,
Kingdom. Yeah, all of that looks very Nintendo Mario-esque. And even the characters, like there's no one I think I can think of that I don't like the look of. They look pretty okay.
Except Mario's butt. Have you looked at all that online?
Yes,
like there was a whole thing after the first trailer
it wasn't
about
even about Mario's butt. The stuff I was seeing on Twitter was about Donkey Kong's butt. They
Was
were
it?
like, they took away Mario's, but they kept Donkey Kong's in, and someone zoomed in, and that was like the first thing I saw from the trailer was someone tweet about that. But you know, each to their own. I, like you, am feeling pretty good about this. Just don't like the music. I don't know what they've done with the theme song.
Yeah, they've jazzed up the theme song a little bit, and I'm not sure I like that. I'm a very traditional sort of person when it comes to my Mario theme.
It's just such a overdone thing, and it's a little random. It's such an overdone thing when you take a well-known song and you've got to slow it down. You've got to make it look all fancy.
This is off topic a little bit, but I started watching 1899 on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about it at the moment, about halfway through, but the reason I bring this up is because the theme song is a remixed version of White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane, I want to say.
Yeah.
But it's like an Alice in Wonderland sort of thing. Yeah. And I started listening to it, and the song fits the show, but... Well, the rendition of the song fits the show, but I don't like that version of the song.
Yeah,
it's not a good version of it.
It's such an overdone trope of where trailers will get a well-known song, they'll have someone else cover it, or there'll be a different type of orchestral arrangement like they've done in the Mario one. And I'm like, you could have just played the original Mario music.
Yeah.
Or like had a build-up to the Mario music or something like that. But maybe I'm just being nitpicky.
But one thing we can be forever grateful for is it's not the 90s Mario's movie. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
Don't. It is bad. Like, when you hear stories...
It's live action, isn't it?
Yeah.
God.
And it's got... Here's the thing, like, you see Mario movie, Bob Hoskins as Mario. If you don't know who Bob Hoskins is, go and look him up. You might have seen Hook. He was Smee in Hook. if you've seen. He was Eddie Valiant in
nice.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the detective in that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I look at a Mario, that's who I see as a Mario. And John Leguizamo as Luigi. And both those two, I can look at them and go, I love that casting. And the movie was just terrible. It was so bad. Dennis Hopper as Bowser. I don't know who was smoking for that that particular casting, but my God.
Yeah, I have to confess I haven't seen it. But sorry, you just reminded me talking about Mario and backtracking here. I kind of wish they had Charles Martinet as Mario.
Yeah, I can kind of see why they didn't, because like he does a lot of voices, and look, Charles Martinet is old now. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, I know, but
yeah, and he's still going to be involved in the movie, from what I heard. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Toad voices are him.
Did he do Toad voices?
I'm not sure if he did or not, but
like at least a voice cameo or something like that. I would imagine they would do that, but I don't know. I just wish Mario sounded like Mario. Like if any character was going to sound exactly like the video game one, should be Mario.
Yep, exactly.
But anyway, sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent then, just because I just feel like Charles Martinet got a little bit robbed there.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Moving on. We're talking about
the other video game movies. So
we were going to talk about other video game movies.
So I've had my dig at the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
You know which one I'm going to say.
I do, but I want to hear you say it.
No, it's Resident Evil. So obviously my first dance with Resident Evil was in the games. I loved, obsessed with, but I hadn't watched any of the Mila Djokovic ones. And I went, okay, I'll watch them, because one of my friends who was responsible for getting me into the games were like, look, it's not great, but they're iconic. Like they're like, early thousands kind of, like, you should still watch it. And I watched the first one or two, and my first thought is, why, for the love of God, have they just gone and created a whole new character, Alice, when they have several different characters they could have used to lead their movies? And I don't even think I've watched them all. I think I watched the first two. Yeah. The only reason I liked 2 was because Jill was in it, and Jill actually looked like Jill from the games, which I actually really appreciated. I thought that was really cool. And then when Welcome to Raccoon City, it was the last one that had. Have you seen it?
I've seen it. It was terrible.
Yeah. So when that came out, that same friend and I were messaging each other pictures of the set, and we're like, oh my God, this looks straight from the game. I loved the cast. I loved everyone in that cast. I don't care that Leon doesn't look like Leon, because I think the actor themselves is really, really cool. So that's a whole other separate tangent I will not go on tonight. Shut up. But yeah, I just think the characters were done a disservice. I think it comes down to the writing.
Yeah, it was not well written. Like
no.
It just.
I loved the nods it had to the game, like especially 2. Like I know, like the whole story was riding on the storyline from Resident Evil 2. The little details they did so well, like things like the keys that you would get in the police department, even the shot of, and this is me just being a big nerd, so hang in there with me at the moment. There's a shot of a guy in a truck eating a burger really messily and sloppily. That is the beginning of Resident Evil 2, and that's such an iconic first little shot, and they recreated it, and that was like one of the first shots of the movie. And I went, oh my God, this is gonna be great. They're gonna nail it. And then like Leon, who was this like strong like rookie cop character, was like the butt of the joke and all this kind of stuff. And I went, what are you doing? Like you were almost like, you could have made a really great, accurate movie. And then, did you watch the post-credits scene of that?
I can't remember.
Oh God. Okay, it's been out long enough, and it's crappy enough that I feel like I don't really care to spoil the end credit scene, because Wesker's known for in the video games for having the sunglasses, and I think you're meant to believe at the end of the movie he's dead, and then in the end credit scene he's found in some room. I'm gonna laugh, stranded on his own, and like someone turns the light on, and he's like, I can't see, and he like grabs his sunglasses. And then like Ada Wong walks in, which is awesome. Like she looked fantastic, but the whole movement into the iconic sunglasses was so corny, and it was like I couldn't look away. Anyway, that was Resident Evil. That was my one. I feel like got done really dirty multiple times.
Tell you what, one video game movie that is so bad that it's good is Street Fighter.
I've
Like,
never seen Street Fighter.
I absolutely, like, it's one of my guilty pleasures. And, like, most of it in it, you look at it and you go, okay. In some of the cast, you got Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile. You've got Kylie Minogue as Cammy. I can't even remember the actors they got for Ken and Ryu, but Ming-Na Wen was Chun-Li.
Yes.
But
I've seen a photo of her because I really like her as an actress, but I've never seen the movie.
yeah, but the best casting in that by far was Raul Julia as M. Bison. Like, he just hams it up. He's having the time of his life, just doing like megalomaniac villain stuff, and it's just so good to watch. I loved it.
Yeah.
But
It's
it's
your like guilty pleasure, like video game movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just popcorn, trashy stuff. And it is a little bit sad, though, because it is the last movie that Raul Julia made before he died. And for those that don't know who I'm talking about, if you remember the 90s Addams Family movies, that's Raul Julia. That Gomez Addams in that was Raul Julia.
I don't know if I have like a guilty pleasure, like video game movie, like Mortal Kombat, the new Mortal Kombat. I've seen the old ones and they're like not too bad. I didn't mind them, but the new Mortal Kombat, I really enjoyed for the silliness and fun and gore of it.
Yeah, I thought the martial artistry in it was good, but I don't need to know where their powers came from. Just give me Fireball Man doing his stuff. But when you got to bring out this Arcana stuff, it's just,
But again, that was another example of them creating this whole new character. I can't remember what his name was. The main guy.
Yeah, the descendant of Scorpion, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever it is. To have a new character in, when you already have
Cole
a
somebody.
large catalogue of characters to already pick from. And it just, I don't know, it made me sad.
Just quietly, Kano carried that movie.
He did.
What's his name? Lawson, the Australian
Josh
actor?
Lawson,
Yeah.
can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I met him
Hey.
because when they did the Mortal Kombat 11 premiere in Perth, I don't know if you know this, the director's from Perth. And he was there answering questions at the beginning, and Josh Lawson was also there too. So I had a
Nice.
photo of both of them, and they're lovely. They were so nice.
Because I think it was filmed in Adelaide as well.
It was filmed in South Australia. But if we're going to talk about movies, I definitely do like video game wise. And I did forget about this last time we had this discussion about it, was the Detective Pikachu movie. I feel like that was an instance of, they were still true to Pokemon, but they did, like, I do remember seeing those Pokemon in 3D for the first time. Like, Pikachu, fine, but remember, like, when you saw Bulbasaur and all of that.
I'm going to hand in my nerd card here and say I'm not that big a fan of Pokemon.
Well,
I like it, but I didn't play the Game Boy one, so I knew the Pokemon.
I've only played one Pokemon game to start to finish, and that was Pokemon Pearl, on the DS. But as just a Pokemon, fan of the Pokemon characters in general, it was just something really surreal and nice about seeing all of them walk amongst, I don't know. I feel like that was a good example of a game that was kind of true to the foundation of the Pokemon franchise, but also still had its own thing with it.
Yeah.
And Sonic the Hedgehog's good too. I remember that.
One I reckon that copped a lot of flack that it didn't deserve was the Final Fantasy movie, because I think that was early 2000s.
I didn't even know there was one until I looked it up.
Well, so not like a movie or based on Final Fantasy VII, or because there was Advent Children, which was a Final Fantasy VII one after the game. So there was Cloud and dealing with a bit of grief from Aeris dying and Zack and that sort of stuff. But there was there was a Final Fantasy movie. I forget. I want to say early 2000, because I'm pretty sure I was driving by then. But it was entirely CG. At the time, it was an amazing feat for the day. And I think I would even go out on a limb to say it even still looks reasonably good now. But the problem is that you are making a Final Fantasy movie. And it's the same issue that Warcraft had as well, because the Warcraft movie I quite enjoyed. I liked the Warcraft movie, but you are trying to cram so much lore into 1 hour and a half, 2 hour movie.
I feel like that's what Welcome to Raccoon City did too. They tried to merge the game number 2 and number 3 together into one movie. And I was like, oh, there's a lot of characters to play with here. There's at least 4 or 5 main big ones from the game. You're all trying to introduce, get the audience to know and like. But yes, I agree with Charlie Golf as well. I do like the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies. These were probably my first. I would argue to say that was probably my first video game movie that I watched without realizing it was based off a video game.
Yeah. Did you see the new one with, was it Alicia Vikander, I think?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, but I haven't seen it. Was that any good?
I quite liked it. Like it still had a bit of supernatural stuff in it. And once again, I don't really know Tomb Raider all that well, but it felt a little bit grittier. Like not in the tone, or though it was, it'd be hard not to be grittier than the Angelina Jolie ones.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, it kind of felt most of it was grounded in reality. It felt like someone that was, making their own bow and arrow and stuff like that. So it felt quite good like that. I feel.
Yeah. I don't think there's any other ones we've really missed apart from, obviously Mario doesn't come out until April next year. Not quite video games, but if we want to get really technical.
It's a game.
The Dungeons and Dragons movie I'm quite looking forward to. I think that did get delayed if I'm not mistaken, but I'm quite looking forward to that. I think if they really play into the character types and stuff, as I imagine, like exactly what the trailer did, I'm pretty excited for it. Again, I've dabbled in a couple of, not even like full games, but just a few rounds of playing D&D with people, and I love the concept and what it offers.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited to see that as well.
Yeah.
So we had Chatterbox Reviews say in chat, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which is more a comic book movie, I would think.
Is it a comic book movie? Or
it started off as a graphic... No, I think it started off as a graphic novel first.
Because we were actually talking about that before we came into the studio today, because I have not seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World. You can all come cancel me now, but that one...
Just quietly, like... Oh, what's his name? Michael Cena?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a hard time with him because I feel like he's like Ryan Reynolds, where he's just playing himself. And I love the meme where he walked onto set one day and people thought he was an actor, and now things have gone too far and it's too awkward for him to back out. So now he just is an actor.
Yeah.
But yes, it is a very good movie. I do like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other ones. I think I've pretty much rattled off all my favorites. I just wish Resident Evil just got it right for once.
Yeah.
It had so much potential in that last one. It makes me cross whenever I think about it.
Thoughts on games based on movies. So they can be good. And I want to point out this one because it's hilarious to me that this happened. But Street Fighter the movie got a game. And I'm not talking about the Street Fighter series of games, being able to play that. But Street Fighter the game got made into Street Fighter the movie. And then there was Street Fighter the movie, the game. And that just blows my mind that they didn't just go, well, this is based on a game, and here it is, and it's really good. But instead, we're going to make a shitty fighting game and put the models of Jean-Claude Van Damme and Kylie Minogue and Ming-Na Wen in the game.
Do you know what games are very good based on movies? And you can all fight me on this. Mm-hmm. The Lego games. Lego Star Wars. Lego Avengers.
I'll give you
Lego
that.
Indiana Jones.
They are good fun.
They are good fun. I feel like because they follow the story like fairly well. Back in the day when they did the Harry Potter games, those were really fun.
I feel like video games based on movies aren't a big thing anymore. What
they're doing, they are doing an Avatar game. Do you remember? Avatar Frontiers of Pandora or something?
Oh, yeah.
That was ages ago. I don't know.
But even I'm trying to think back to my youth. Like Aladdin and the Lion King games are probably two that get remembered.
Yes, I actually own when they did that collection, that remastered collection. I haven't played it yet, but everyone tells me it's really hard.
They are stupid hard.
Oh, really?
Because this is still back in the day when, video games were still semi-arcade games, so they were designed to separate people from their money. And so you had lives, and if you ran out of lives, you died. And they made video games hard so that when you died, you had to put another quarter or another dollar in the machine. And we hadn't quite moved out of there yet. And even I look at Super Star Wars on the Super Nintendo. Most of that has nothing to do with the movie. You fight a lava monster in the bottom of the Jawa sandcrawler to get R2 back. It's whack. It's whack. It's probably the best way I can say that. But like, I'm trying to think of other like more recent video games based on like the one I can sort of. There was an X-Men game that came out just before X-Men 3 did, and I feel
like I had that X-Men game.
Yeah, and it was a lead-in to X-Men 3 because it kind of explained a bit why Nightcrawler wasn't in X-Men 3.
Yeah. Right.
And I do remember that because you could play as Wolverine, Nightcrawler, or Iceman, and that was quite good fun. I like that, but that. While it was a movie tie-in, it wasn't a movie video game.
But you're right, they haven't done that very much anymore. Maybe only kids stuff I've seen. Like Miraculous Ladybug had a video game come out a couple of weeks ago. Or there's several Paw Patrol games. Don't ask me how I know, I just know.
Don't lie.
Yeah.
I want to.
Like
you love
Paw
them.
Patrol.
You
no,
love them.
I love Paw Patrol. Yeah. No, it's fine. Or actually, I've got a friend that really loves horses. And they
oh my God, did the Saddle Club make a video game?
Okay, wait. Not recently, but when I was a kid, there was a Saddle Club game.
Oh my God,
wow. No, there was a Saddle Club game that I played on PC. It was like an open world game. Open world Saddle Club game. And you could ride your horses everywhere. You could oh my God, it was the best. I have to find a video and link it to you and show you. But that was like the bee's knees. When I was very little on the PC. There was a Saddle Club game. Yeah. But no, what I was going to say was they did a new animated movie of Spirit, but more for like a younger audience, and they came up with a game with that as well. So I feel like maybe more for kids were seeing it.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably easier to do that sort of thing as well because
familiarity.
Well, but also because like it's harder to do it with more adult content, like because you go and make a Deadpool game, and you're not going to make that G-rated or PG-rated to kids. You're going to make it R-rated, and you're limiting your
audience base.
Yeah, and
but I think even for kids, it's just as simple as getting to be Miraculous Ladybug or getting to be Sky from Paw Patrol. Like that kind of novelty there, I think is still pretty strong with the younger ones. Whereas, like for us, like for example, if we had Gotham Knights. No, we don't just want to play Nightwing. We want to play a good game. Like there's more to it.
That's it.
It's quite easy, I feel like, to play some kids. I'm surprised I don't think there's a Bluey game, but hasn't decided to make a Bluey game yet.
Oh, it's got to happen. Surely it's got to happen.
Like you're sitting on a gold mine right there.
Yeah.
But yes, sorry, Natty and Chatterbox, I think as well. We did talk about Sonic earlier. We did quite enjoy both of them.
Yeah.
But I think I'm exhausted of ideas in terms of a list of video game things that are coming to mind, because I feel like we always circle back to this every couple of months or so.
Well, because there's so much stuff out there, and like if you expand it and talk about TV shows as well,
God,
like
we could be here for another hour.
We could, but I think that's probably for another day. If you've got a favorite video game based on a movie or TV show, or a TV show or movie based on a video game, let us know on Twitter at GameOnOz. We're all more than happy to hear about all that sort of stuff. Yes, there was a Need for Speed movie, and it starred Aaron Paul.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But yes, we're going to get on. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for sticking with us as we got through those technical difficulties. Thank you to, I've forgotten the name of the Big
Potato Games.
Big Potato Games. Sorry for sending us What Next. Really cool co-op board game. You should go and check that out.
And thanks, Aussie Broadband.
Thanks, Aussie Broadband. And thank you to everybody, not just for listening, but for those that have donated to our Movember campaign, given that it's the end of Movember. Please, if you do have some spare dollars, please donate. We had a couple come through, and we got even hotter doing those exercises here. But lucky for us, those stop when November finishes.
Yeah.
So tomorrow's the 1st of December.
But
so
summer's already in full force.
Oh my God, it was 37 degrees yesterday. I don't know what it got to today, but in here it must be.
Feels like 37
Oh,
degrees.
it's crazy. But anyway, we will see you all next week. I will probably see you tomorrow night for Nuts and Bolts, but we'll be back here in the studio next week. Hopefully sans audio issues, but yes, we will definitely be here. And bye.
Bye.